59 according to my phone. So we'll call the meeting to order. I would ask at this time if there are any additions to the agenda.
I have two.
Okay. What is the first?
Joint council meetings. And the second is winter parking.
Medicinal drink. What was the second?
Winter parking.
Winter parking. Okay. Any other additions this evening? Okay. I would ask for a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Okay, do we have a seconder?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded. The agenda is approved with the two additions. We do not have any gallery presentations this evening. I would open up the floor for any acknowledgements, and just to start off, this year is the 135th anniversary of the incorporation of the town of Port Hawkesbury. I know it's not a significant milestone, but I just did want to acknowledge that. Any other acknowledgements this evening?
Yes, Your Worship, I'd
Deputy
like
Mayor?
to request that the town and acknowledge the CORA program at NSCC. And it's a great service to our seniors. And I'd like to ask if Terry would put this on our Facebook page for the town.
Sure.
I made it two, it's double there, that's just the front side.
Great.
If that's all right with council.
Absolutely. I think that's great. Great program. Any other acknowledgements this evening?
Just like to,
Sure.
maybe, Your Worship,
Yes,
just
go ahead.
something that I seen in the paper that I don't know if the rest of you seen. There was a thing sent out about Jim and Rilla McLean.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
The thing with the housing university, and it's a very prestigious university, obviously, and for them to have the acknowledgement that they had in that university and throughout the province was really nice. And I know Rilla was a real advocate of accessibility, and this is what it was all about.
Well, fantastic. That's a great acknowledgement. Thank you,
I
Councilor.
think it was their house. With the commercial bid, I think it was their house.
So definitely, it's great to acknowledge the late Rilla, who she was an amazing advocate for accessibility, and it's so heartwarming to know that she's being recognized in other places outside of the town. It shows it's definitely a testament to her dedication. Any other acknowledgements this evening? Terry?
Your Worship, I meant to mention we may want to acknowledge the passing of Alana McGuinness, longtime educator in the town of Port Hawkesbury, former long-time administrator in the town of Port Hawkesbury.
Absolutely.
Contributor in many ways to this town.
Really sad to hear about her passing.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely. Thank you, Terry, for sharing that with us. Any other acknowledgements before we move on? Okay. So we do have a meeting of December 19th. It was a joint public meeting and also a committee of the whole meeting. You've all had an opportunity to review the minutes. I would ask at this time if there are any errors or omissions from that set of minutes. Okay, hearing none, I would ask if there's any business arising from the minutes. Okay. Just for information for council, for my committee of the whole report in 2 weeks' time, I will include the month of December, because since I didn't have the opportunity to share that at our last committee of the whole month, I'm going to double down on my committee of the whole report in 2 weeks' time. I just wanted to let folks know. Any other business arising? We didn't have any motions from our in-camera session. We do have one piece of correspondence from the Cape Breton Local Immigration Partnership, and it is a request. I'll hand things over to Terry to introduce that.
Yes, Your Worship. So We're being asked by the Cape Breton Partnership to prepare a letter of support for the Cape Breton Local Immigration Partnership. And there was a letter that was distributed to you today for review. I know this is a bit time sensitive as well.
Sure.
So we're asking council for approval of the letter to be sent this week.
And Councillor Coyne, would you still sit as the rep?
I do, yes.
Okay, anything you want to add?
No, the letter's perfect.
Okay. So what is the wishes of council with regard to the draft letter?
I'll make a motion to send the letter.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a seconder?
Seconded.
Okay, any discussion on the motion?
Question.
Okay, the question has been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded. Okay, the letter is approved, and we'll, Melissa will get you to send that off tomorrow. Anything else on that request? Okay. We'll move on then. No proclamations or resolutions. Under other business, I will hand things over to Terry to do our council expense review.
Yes, Your Worship. So we distributed the council expense dated for December 2023. Total expenditure for the month of December was $2,038. This, as we say every week, this spreadsheet will be posted on our webpage, and this is open for review for the public.
Okay, thank you, Terry. So we are going to move on to agenda item 12, which is approved additions. The first one is joint council meetings, and I'll hand things over to Jason.
Thank you. So a while back now, we've been asking for joint meetings with Inverness County Council and with Richmond County Council. One of the topics that's been lingering and really making me want to push for these meetings is the Sarah Pool. Our staff 2 years ago presented to Inverness County Council, showing the usage and asking for some funding towards the pool with not much response. So we had asked for a meeting with Richmond County. We sent in an agenda. They wouldn't approve the agenda because the pool was on the agenda at the time. We're coming up to budget time again in the near future. So I asked either staff or the mayor, and I asked council for the support to try to get these meetings set up before budget talk, because the pool is a big part of our budget. And I think it's important that we try to deal with this before that.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. What's the wishes of council?
Your Worship, absolutely agree and support what Councillor Coyne is talking about, and we've discussed this over 3 years actually, with the previous, regarding the previous Richmond County Council too, which we were unable to get a meeting with. So I think there are a number of issues that we would have that would be on that agenda, as well as what the other councils would bring to the discussion. So yeah, I'd certainly like us to try to move forward, arrange for the meetings.
Sure, and just for context, I know Terry and I have already picked up communications with Richmond County to look at a date prior to our mutual budget discussions, so that's already in the works. And we're happy to, I guess, dust off and look at hopefully scheduling something with Inverness County Council too within the next couple of weeks. It'd be good to have a date sometime in February, just in time, plenty of time before budgets get fully molded and adopted in April. So I think, timing-wise, that now is a really good opportunity to set some meetings with both councils. Any other discussion on the item?
Yeah, Your Worship, through you. It's great to say, let's have a meeting, but we have to really sit down, we either make a motion to have it, direct staff to do something, or we can just say we're gonna have a meeting, but then we don't have a meeting for 6 months' time, and then we're saying, well, how come we're not having a meeting? How long has it been? 2 years, you say? 2 years, 3 years?
If I could make one suggestion for council's consideration, I think it might be a great idea to have maybe reach out, maybe myself and the deputy mayor, reach out to warden and deputy warden and maybe the CAOs and talk about an agenda for each subsequent meeting. I think that would be, I think, helpful in order to kind of get the ball rolling on both meetings. If council's okay with that, and if the deputy mayor is willing to play a role in that.
Yes, Your Worship, no problem. And also, I think through you, Your Worship, that we should meet to, I guess, put in place and on the agenda exactly what we would want.
Yeah, and they may have other items they're interested in.
Correct.
Do that agenda together between the deputy and the deputy warden and mayor and deputy mayor. That's okay with council. Just a suggestion, if you're open to it.
So, just one other comment. I do tend to agree with Councillor McDougall that if we do put a motion, we can put a timeline. And at least then the other two municipalities know that, they're serious, they want to meet with us. If we don't meet with them, what will be, will be.
Yeah.
I don't want us to waste, maybe waste isn't the right word, but I don't want our staff spending any more time traveling, presenting to anybody on these topics. I think now it's time for the elected officials to sit at the table with each other and talk them out. Like Deputy Mayor kind of suggested, I think that our council should get together, whether it's via email, whatever the case may be, before we set a meeting date.
Yeah.
Or try to give them an agenda.
Yeah, we're getting an agenda. So if you want to make that a motion.
I'll put the motion on that between mayor and deputy mayor, and
We can reach out.
and CAO reach out to theirs, that we try to set up a meeting before the end of February with both.
Yeah.
Second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor, and I'm hoping describing. So for the mayor and deputy mayor and CAO to reach out to our counterparts in both Richmond and Inverness, to set up a meeting about a future meeting and about agenda setting and before the end of February. Did I
No,
describe
not
it correctly?
quite, no. The motion on the floor is to have this meeting before the end of February with the councilors.
Okay. So when do you wanna,
Tomorrow would be great.
well.
But no, I mean, we can reach out to
Thank
each
you for
other.
all the notice. Yeah.
But no, we have,
I guess time is of the essence. As soon as we can, if we can manage before the end of February, but in time before budget talks.
We'll reach out to see the
Yeah.
availability.
Yeah, I mean, we can't, I guess we can make a suggestion in terms of a timeline. At the end of the day, we hope that the invitation is out.
Sure.
And it's not only, it's like there's lots of opportunities to work together and collaborate, and there's also lots of opportunities to improve the way that we've collaborated in the past and make things more equitable. So definitely looking forward to working with the deputy mayor on that. So we do have a motion still. Any other discussion on that motion?
Question.
Okay, question has been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is approved. The second addition is winter parking.
thank you. So ever since I was elected, The winter parking's been one of my pet peeves. We have a bylaw in place. For 3 years now, I've been asking to have vehicles towed during snowstorms that are parked illegally. Past couple of years, we've been having a hard time finding a tow company that was willing to do so. I reached out to one of the tow companies who has agreed to come and do it with some documentation from either the town and or RCMP. I asked to have that documentation done over a month ago, or about a month ago. I reached out yesterday to see if it was done. The answer is no. The issues that we face here is every snowstorm I get messages or phone calls from the same resident. Then I go out in the morning and I drive around town and I can count no less than 12 cars parked illegally, and you see where our plows went around them. Now there's a bank which is going to become ice on the road by the end of the day. Later on that day, once these vehicles move, and it might be 2 or 3 times by the time Public Works is out and everybody's gone, they're back to clean that up. In a big snow event, we're looking at the safety of our operators with parked vehicles as snowbanks go around them, potentially hitting these vehicles, which will become a financial burden on the town of Port Hawkesbury. There's been no repercussions. We've gone and give warnings. We've given tickets to say you need to move your vehicles. The RCMP last year went door to door with our staff, and nothing's being improved on. So I asked council, I'm going to put a motion on the table, and the motion on the table is that staff contact the tow company companies and have one in place within the next 7 days with the documentation in place, and we start towing vehicles. It's enough of the warnings. People in the public are saying there's no repercussions. Why do you have a bylaw? Well, it's time to have those repercussions.
Okay. So a motion has been presented and put on the floor. Do we have a seconder?
Second motion.
Okay. The motion has been seconded. Now we'll open things up for discussion. Did you?
Well, I just think we don't have a winter parking bylaw. We have a winter parking policy that we do every year. The authority that we have is vested in the same as every other municipality, is vested in the Motor Vehicle Act. The Motor Vehicle Act is typically enforced by the RCMP or the police agency or a bylaw enforcement officer. So the method of removing vehicles for winter parking and enforcing the Motor Vehicle Act is through the RCMP. And we have already reached out to the RCMP and discussed this. And really the discretion for enforcement of the Motor Vehicle Act lies with the RCMP and not with us at this point in time. So if we want to move that forward, put the resources in place and our ability to do that, then we have to look at some more work there. I did reach out to the tow operator that you're talking about. The RCMP doesn't have any issue with retaining tow companies. We do. So if that's not an issue for the RCMP to enforce, and they've stated very clearly that they will do that when they feel that the safety of the public is in jeopardy. But their wish is to do this by getting for people voluntarily moving their vehicles. And when they have approached homes and people who have done that, then those vehicles have been moved. So we can certainly do that. We have to abide by the law, of course. So the motion can't override the laws of the province of Nova Scotia. But yeah, and certainly we will respond to that, and I've asked for legal advice on this a number of times already, and it's not clear actually to me either what happens. But from this, we'll get a direct legal advice on what can occur. If we're looking at sort of the large-scale execution of moving vehicles at the start of the storm, an hour after or an hour before the start of the storm, an hour afterwards, and through that storm, or between 1 o'clock in the morning and 7 o'clock in the morning. So we'll do that. So that's just some clarity.
Thanks for the clarity, Terry. Councilman Dubé.
Yes, Your Worship, through you. I like the motion. I agree with the motion, but if it's not in order, I know we can't. The province supersedes any municipality. But one comment and then a suggestion. The comment is what Councilor Coyne is saying. If you tell away something once, the people are going to hear them, and it's going to help the town a lot. The second point is on the 16th, we have Deputy Mayor and myself on the Police Advisory Board, and we have a meeting on the 16th. I will definitely bring it up at the 16th and ask them to follow up and tell them that the council is one of their pet peeves, and council want this to be looked at this winter or sooner than later. And I'll definitely bring it up at the board meeting.
Great, and that's yourself and Councillor Coyne? Or, okay, sorry, Deputy Mayor McIver. Both of you are on that.
So a question through you to Terry. Correct me if I'm wrong, I just heard you say that the RCMP are okay with getting a tow company, but the town is not? Is that what I heard?
So the RCMP it's not abnormal for the RCMP to have to hire to direct a tow company to move a vehicle because of infraction of the Motor Vehicle Act. So it is that sort of mass movement of vehicles that tow companies are reluctant to do, not something that's at the discretion of the RCMP.
It's under the jurisdiction of the RCMP as opposed to the town.
Yes.
Yes. But I guess, like I said, I think if it happens once,
It's going to be a
they'll
huge
get the
deterrent.
message. They'll get the message.
It'll only happen once.
Some of the problem that I'm seeing is that there's 2 fire hydrants every storm blocked by vehicles. Every storm. The pictures have been sent for 3 years now. Yeah, we spoke to the RCMP last year about this. You guys spoke to them last year at the Police Advisory Committee. And that's when they came out and started passing out the tickets with our staff and going door to door.
So that is no longer working as a deterrent.
It never
You need
did,
to go
no.
the next
No,
level of
last-
towing.
The tow, yeah.
So I guess in terms of the potential for staying in line with the Motor Vehicle Act, how can we accomplish the same intent of the motion?
So I
Or amend the motion.
did I hear that if we had a bylaw officer, they could enforce that?
With the proper bylaw in place. So
But
right now,
but it's just a policy.
So right now, it's a policy that actually directs the traffic authority, which is me, to be able to impose these traffic restrictions. But the carrying out or the enforcement of that is now through the RCMP. So there's bylaw that has to be in place and some other. And I do apologize because we have been talking about this for 3 years, and I've gotten some different interpretation of what we can do and what we can't do. But I will clarify this. If this motion goes forward, motion goes forward or not, we'll have something back for a committee of whole, or prior to that, so you can review it.
Deputy Mayor McIver.
Yes, Your Worship, through you. Maybe if staff could reach out to HRM. I know HRM don't have a problem moving cars.
Yep.
And they're in the same province and in the same Motor Vehicle Act. So if they can help us out with what they have written in a bylaw or a policy, because it's executed every day, there's tow trucks going with cars up there.
We're similar in size to Infotana and Ganesh too, I wonder,
Antigonish have summary
They're
fence
bylaw
tickets
officers.
too, and
do they tow?
they will tow, yeah. And you can also use, I think it's called a special constable. They would get trained in Halifax, and anybody on a security detail can become a special constable and issue summary fence tickets for the municipality.
Councilor Corey?
So, Your Worship, where are we with this motion? What's-
Oh, we're still discussing
Yes.
the motion.
Yeah.
But you can recommend an amendment.
Yeah, so what's the text or what's the wording of this motion now?
Was for staff to connect with a towing company within the next 7 days about towing during storms, cars are parked illegally. Am I describing that correctly?
So, really, does it sound like we have the authority to do that? If the conversation now has been that this issue is really under the Motor Vehicle Act, I think what Councillor McDougall is suggesting, and as Councillor Coyne has said, it was discussed before at Police Advisory, but it doesn't hurt to bring it up again and say, look, the council's very concerned about this. We have been for some time, and we would like, year after year, we're supposed to identify some priorities for the RCMP, right? And we're asked to, so I think this is one, and it should be reinforced, and in particular, if there's fire hydrants that are permanent blocked, they should be told where those fire hydrants are, and those be the first couple of vehicles to get towed.
So I guess to go ahead.
I will withdraw the motion.
Or maybe we can make an amendment.
I will withdraw the motion.
Okay. I think, well, the motion is on the floor, so it has to be voted on. I don't think it can be withdrawn.
Be withdrawn, yes.
Okay. Is that okay with the seconder?
Sure it is.
All right. Is there a
So
different motion?
I will put a new motion on the floor
Okay.
that staff reach out to RCMP and report back to us at Committee of Whole. And in the meantime, so when you reach out to RCMP, if the RCMP are willing to move forward with this, then let's get the documentation to the towing company.
Would it be appropriate for us to make an official correspondence to the RCMP with regard to our concern?
Well, I think we're going to do that in a week's time.
After we discuss
When they go to
at
the,
Committee of the Whole.
no, when the two council and the deputy mayor go to the RCMP advisory.
Okay,
So yeah, the motion would be to contact the RCMP,
for who to contact?
for CAO
Okay.
to contact the RCMP.
Okay.
And try to resolve this before Committee of Whole.
So we'll add that to our agenda for Committee of the Whole for more discussion in terms of next steps. Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a seconder?
I'll second it.
Okay, so any other discussion on this current motion?
The one, just a point of interest or curiosity, but I'd be interested to know is if the RCMP can inform council as to how many vehicles they actually address. We're not going to know whose vehicle. We don't want to know that. We just want to know
A number.
a number. That's what I'd be curious about.
Right, and I guess to lend to your comment, I would be curious what their definition of safety hazard would be as well. I would assume parked in front of the fire hydrant would be in the bucket, but again, I don't know what measuring stick they're using for that. Maybe we can have our two representatives ask that question as well.
Mhm.
What do they consider as a safety hazard? To the public, but also to our public works staff. So,
Question?
okay, the question has been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying
Aye.
aye. Aye, contrary minded. Okay, the motion is approved. We will have further discussion at our Committee of the Whole. As you'll note, our future public meetings are We have a public hearing for January 23rd, followed by committee of the whole for January 23rd of the same date. And then we have a public meeting following month, February 6th. And at this time.
Your worship, what time is the public hearing set for?
Do we have a specific date, Melissa?
I thought. Okay. Just because of,
Because it's 6,
Right.
Just to, also to let you know, Melissa, we're going to meet as a council to discuss bylaws policies from 6 to 7 prior to our committee of the whole on January 23rd, so we can actually add that to our future meetings. There's the 4th. Ta-da! We'll squeeze that one right in between public hearing and committee of the whole, so it'll be policy and bylaw meeting. And that'll be from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Okay. All right, anything else on those future meetings? Gary?
Just after the special, on the evening of the special meeting and committee of whole, we would ask to have a special meeting,
Okay.
special meeting of council to approve the changes to our land use bylaw
Not a
and
problem.
planning strategy.
Okay, so that would be whatever, we don't have a designated time, it would be whatever our committee of the whole time would elapse and conclude. So we will now move on to public question period. We do not have any members of the gallery here in person. And I'm not sure if we have any members of the gallery other than media here. And I will ask if there are any public questions at this time with regard to any agenda items. In saying that, I will make myself available after the public meeting for questions from media. Hearing no public questions, I would ask for a motion of adjournment.
Just one correction on my acknowledgement. It was UNB that Rilla and Jen
Okay.
went to.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. We'll make sure that Melissa has that information for the meeting minutes. Thanks, Huey. So a motion of adjournment.
moved.
Okay, do we have a seconder?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everyone.